My colleague Guma to bring us up to speed from a region that has categorically stated that they will not be taking part in these demonstrations if they do not get the instructions from the one and only Premier Raila Odinga. Guma, speak to us.
Yes, thank you, Alan. Here in Kisumu, as you can see, even as you stated earlier, the activities around this place are just back to normal and things are happening as usual. Most business we are seeing at this particular moment opening, and you can see the road behind me heading to the CBD. The business is most likely as usual, and what is happening is that there are even no security officers that are patrolling or heavy presence of security personnel within the city. We've moved from Kondele to the CBD. Things are just normal at this particular hour. And what is happening is that there are some schools or a number of schools that have remained closed at this particular hour. They have not opened and students have remained at home. Right here, I'm being joined by some members of the business community who also want just to share their sentiments on today's Sabasaba. What do they have now that Kisumu is not part and will not be participating in the Sabasaba demonstration? Please join me here and introduce yourself. Then tell us why do you feel that Kisumu should not be part of this Sabasaba demonstration like it has been in the past?
Thank you so much. By name, I'm Shemu Chwedo. I'm the chairman of Kisumu Bus Park and also a member of a business community in Kisumu. We are saying that, yes, we knew what the Sabasaba was all about, and it was a relevant instrument to fight or repeal that section that allows the political space. Actually, what we have been seeing of late is not about those democratic rights. We've seen destruction of properties. We've seen lives being lost. We've seen so many things happening. But in Kisumu, I want to thank our people that they allowed the business to move as usual. And that, again, gives us the confidence that we need to interact with the government of the day. We don't have to be on the road. We don't have to destroy all our properties. We don't have to kill maybe our brothers or sisters for us to grow. Thank you.
Do you think it is important also for the demonstrators to practice their rights of demonstration without being curtailed or without being jeopardized by other forces or other goons that sometimes infiltrate this protest and cause mayhem?
Yes, it is true that under Article 1 you can express your democratic right directly or through your elected leaders. In Kisumu, we have been engaging our elected leaders. And I think that is why at least we are where we are. We are not taking things into our hands. And I also wish those who would want it to be done the other way, that it is also their democratic right. Yes.
Okay, so final message to the residents of Kisumu.
Thank you. My message to our people is that peace is very important. Peace is very important. Let us try and keep and maintain peace. Let us do our things in a proper way, engage the government of the day, and so that we get to move with life as usual. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alan, that is just the update from this lakeside city of Kisumu, where things are going on as usual, and as you have heard from the member of business community within the city, for them, they want this peace to continue prevailing so that business activities in this lakeside city can continue as usual. And also they wish well those who are going to the demonstration of the Sabasaba today, go on with their demonstration and do it in a peaceful manner that do not destroy businesses and also does not affect the activities of the day. From Kisumu County, back to you in studio.
Right, very well. Thank you for that, Guma. Guma speaking to us from the CBD right there in Kisumu. We're seeing a relatively calm situation owing to the fact that businesses have said that they do not want to go through what they've seen other regions go through in terms of destruction of property. Maybe just to quickly touch on this before we get back to another update. We're looking at a relatively calm situation. Time could be a factor that we're looking at. It's still 9:37, so this could still be a bit early. But even in as much as we're looking at time, this is a region that has seen many of them say we're not going to be part of this. This is not our war. Even as we move into that 2027 date, what sort of task are we looking at convincing these people to come away from that narrative that this is not our war? And how hard of a daunting task is it going to be?
Well, allow me to just draw a bit of some comparisons as far as this issue is concerned. Well, we know very well that the Nyanza area is predominantly ODM controlled.
Yeah.
And we cannot run away from the fact that Raila and a few leaders within the ODM faction are widely followed, and perhaps they have the major following as far as that region is concerned can trickle down to the younger generation. But also let's not escape to the evidence that we saw as far as the funeral that undertook in Homa Bay for Albert Ojwang. We saw there was a group which intentionally went ahead and took Albert's body and marched with it to the police station where Albert had ordinarily been detained for a few hours. That speaks to me that there is a current shift which is going to happen. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but there's already an ongoing shift. Mainly because as it is right now, it's not politically controlled with whatever is happening. And I say this because I draw comparison to what's happening in Kenya to what happened in Bangladesh. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, there was no leaders. Okay. If you go to how the whole revolution happened, it actually started the same way Kenyan protest started. In Kenya, it was the finance bill. As far as the Bangladesh was concerned, they have a similar Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. That's what sparked the revolution that happened there. There was an aspect of something called a hashtag called Save Savar. There was hashtag of some people who were missing because of some sort of dissent that was happening. And all this happened through digital activism.
All right, Ian, just hold that thought right there. On to link up with our reporter, that is Robbie Omondi Aliron. Robbie was at Jijo Road. I believe she's changed locations just to give us another feel and mood of what is happening right here in the CBD. I'm able to see some Easy Coach buses behind Robbie. So, Robbie, could you just tell us where you are and what is the current situation as we speak?
All right, thank you very much. In studio, we are at Kabete, where passengers who are traveling early morning have been stranded here, some of them as early as 9 a.m. and are still here, considering the fact that they do not have access to the CBD, and now they have to figure out a way from here to where they were going from. Now, allow me to speak to some of the people who have been here since early morning. Songea kidogo karibu na mimi. Unaweza kutuelezea ulifika hapa saa ngapi, ulikuwa unatoka wapi, na kufikia sasa ni kipi kimefanyika?
Nilitoka Kisumu. Majina kamili naitwa George Mondi. Nilitoka Kisumu saa 2. Nimefika Nairobi saa 11. Sasa vile nilifika saa 11 tumepata roadblock hapo. Polisi wamesema tukataa, wameweka roadblock sitaki tuingie ndani. Sasa tukarudi hapa. Sasa hapo tunataka tu security ya kutosha. Tutaki noma.
Mnataka security, ulikuwa unaenda wapi haswa, na roadblock ni ya nini?
Roadblock siji ilikuwa ya nini, kataza PSV, alisema PSV siingie town. Hata mbeba vijana ndio tasumbua watu town.
Na Nairobi ulikuwa unakuja kufanya nini?
Mimi silileta abiria passengers kutoka Kisumu. Sasa
na ina maana gani, kwa sababu kwa sasa ikizingatiwa kwamba kumekuwa na hiyo roadblock, biashara yako itaathirika vipi na ni kipi una expect itafanyika?
Sasa biashara sasa leo tumechoma, hakuna kitu tumepata. Pesa hata tulikuwa nayo wamelipa tu, wamechukua yote Naivasha. Mpaka wamevunja gari kio.
Hebu elezea kidogo, unasema wameiba yote, inamaanisha nini?
Wamechukua pesa yote ya gari. Kabaki bure.
Kulikuwa na wakora barabara.
Walikuwa wakora, walikuwa wameweka mawe hapo kwa barabara.
Na tayari mmeandikisha ripoti, ni kipi ambacho kimefanyika kufikia sasa?
Huwezi piga ripoti. Sasa sisi tulitoka tu gari mbio mpaka hapa Nairobi. Sasa tunataka tu security ya kutosha.
Now, these are some of the passengers and people who are ferrying passengers from Kisumu to Nairobi, and maybe I can just try and talk to some of them. Others are not comfortable to speak on camera, but right behind me there are several cars. Boss, unataka kuzungumza kidogo? Labda unaweza kutuelezea ulikuwa unasafiri ama umekuja na gari gani, ulikuwa unatoka wapi na ni kipi kimefanyika?
Mimi ni driver wa Easy Coach. Nimetoka Kisumu kwa naelekea Nairobi. Tumefika hapa mapema sana. Mwendo wa saa 10:30 tulikuwa hapa. Lakini kufikia hadi sasa hatujapata jinsi ya kuingia town. So tunasikia kuna wamefunga barabara hapa mbele, lakini hatujui ni kina nani wamefunga barabara. Hizi magari unajua zinabebanga abiria wengi sana. Kuna watoto ndani, kuna wakina mama, watu wanaumia njaa sana jamani. Hata tulikuwa tunaomba serikali hapa kama ni uwezo wangetupatia escort, at least watu waingie town, watu waende makwao. Tumeumia sana kusema kweli.
Na kwa wale ambao labda wamefanikiwa kutoka hapa, labda mmejua wanaenda vipi, kwa sababu pale ambapo mnabeba abiria inamaanisha kwamba usalama wao uko mikononi mwa Easy Coach ama magari mengine ambayo yanatumia gari zenyu. Hiyo ina maana gani?
Kama saizi tumeongea na dereva wawili watatu wale ambao walikuwa mbele yetu, lakini wao walipita Southern Bypass, hawakupita hapa. Ni kama walijua wakapita Southern Bypass. Sasa sisi tunajua tulipokuwa tukikuja njiani hapa kuna vijana hapa, kama hapa Kinoo kuna vijana pia wamefunga barabara, wanakota ushuru, ukipita lazima ulipe pesa. So hatujui, sina uhakika usalama wao ulikuwa ni vipi, lakini wamefaulu tu kimungu wakaenda wamefika town.
Na kando tu na usalama na usafiri ambao umesitishwa na kukwama kidogo, kwako siku kama hii ya Sabasaba ina maana gani? Na unapoangalia siku za nyuma, miaka ya nyuma na sasa mambo yalivyo kwa sasa, muonekano wako ni gani na semi zako ni zipi kuhusiana na hilo?
Kusema kweli hii Sabasaba mimi naweza sema sioni maana yote kwangu. Maana yake kitu ya kwanza, mimi Sabasaba hata sikuli Sabasaba. Sabasaba haina umuhimu wowote. Okay, kwa vijana pia nao ni haki yao pia kuandamana. Katiba ya Kenya nakubali ni haki ya kila Mkenya kuandamana kwa haki yake. Lakini kwa sasa hii kulingana na situation vile iko, sioni kama ni vyema hata watu wangeandamana. Maana yake hata uchumi tumefinyika, hakuna pesa, watoto wanataka kwenda mashule, hatuna pesa za kupeleka shule. So hata ni kujikaza tunajikaza si wenyewe jamani.
Basi labda wito wako kwa uongozi wa nchi ni gani kama Mkenya?
Mimi ningeomba tu kwa rais wetu mpendwa Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto, tafadhali jaribu kuongea na vijana, tuliza nchi, manake wewe ndio tegemeo, macho yote iko kwako, tafadhali. Asante.
Mami, karibu kidogo, ulikuwa unatuelezea kuhusiana na hali ilivyo katika eneo hili. Muonekano wako ni gani? Ni mambo gani ambayo unaona yameathirika? Na wewe ulikuwa unasafiri ama wewe ni baadhi ya wale ambao labda wanasaidia wengine kupata chai kidogo?
Kwa majina naitwa Irene Omala. Nilikuwa nasafiri kutoka Bumala jana usiku. Tukafika hapa mwendo wa saa 11 asubuhi. So tulipofika hapa tukaambiwa magari haziwezi pita hapa kuelekea kule mbele kuingia town. Tukazuiliwa hapa. So mimi nilikuwa na tarajia kusafiri leo usiku kwa sababu nilikuwa na ndege ya saa 1 usiku ambapo siwezi kufika town sasa kuanzia sasa. Na ni changamoto sasa kuanzia sasa kwangu na sijui la kufanya sasa kufikia hapo.
Labda ulikuwa unasafiri kwenda wapi na tayari umepiga simu kuhakikisha kwamba uenda utapata mbinu mbadala ya kuweza kusafiri?
Nilikuwa nasafiri kwenda Dubai na kwa sasa hivi sijapiga simu mahali popote.
Na iwapo hautasafiri na maana gani, itakuwa inaathiri nini? Na Dubai ulikuwa unaenda kibiashara ama ni nini ulikuwa unaenda?
Nilikuwa naenda kikazi na kwa sasa hivi nadhani nisipo safiri shughuli yangu ya ndege na visa yangu ambayo inatarajia niingie kwa siku kwa kufikia kesho itakuwa imeharibika.
Naam, tunakutakia kila laheri, tunatumai kwamba utapata mbinu ya kuweza kufika mjini na uweze kusafiri salama. Now, bila shaka, these are some of the pedestrians or rather passengers who are stranded at Kabete. It has been more than 4 hours since they arrived here. There are more than 40 PSVs or rather buses that are here up to this time, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to ensure that they get to the CBD and continue with their travels as scheduled. We're going to go to Mombasa at the moment. My colleague Frederick Kai is on standby, and we'll be right back and follow up with what is going to happen or what is coming in the next hours. We'll bring you up to speed on what will be going on. For now, Kai, I give you the baton.
Right, Robbie, thank you so much for that update and report there. We'll be heading to Mombasa. That is with Fred Kai, with his update on how Mombasa is looking right now as we speak. But before, we get to him, let's continue that conversation right here in studio. And of course, we're analyzing, today what the symbolism of 7/7 present day looks like. And, Ian, let's take a look at the second liberators saying that the whole aspect of ODM being part of government is an issue. But the only reason why it's even progressing, prospering, quote unquote, is because they have ODM there. That in the beginning, it was a bad idea. They should have not been part of government. They should have just, stood alone and enacted the 10 issues, away by fighting for the people, not by being part of the government. What's your perspective?
I think that ODM being part of, or rather assisting this current government in trying to quell the temperatures, only worked temporarily. In also my view is that I think ODM is realized that they did a mistake. A mistake on the part of they left a very young generation to now advocate for their own opinions in a sense, because at some point majority of people thought that ODM was always advocating for the people who were against the government, trying to advocate for high food prices, fuel, and things like that. The fact that ODM was able to assist the government in trying to sort of have a bit of some control into the current pains, I think at some point the ODM leadership lost insight as to how deeply the pains were. And moving forward, I think that they have gotten to realize that if they are not going to advocate for their pains themselves, the people will. And that's why you're having difficulty in trying to identify who are the leaders. As it is, the current Gen Z who are trying to fight the finance bill and all these other issues, we're only trying to advocate for those pains by reaching out to ODM leadership and say, okay, since you guys are in opposition, this is what we are greatly opposed to. But now, because they don't have that avenue, the only thing the government should do is go read tweets on X and find out exactly what they're advocating for. So,
and Ian, as you continue to analyze that, pictures on your screen right now are from Mombasa. We can see their vehicle, with policemen there, and traffic is flowing, as you can see on your screens. Earlier on, when we had Fred Kai, our correspondent there, giving us an update, we saw that, those heavy police presence, of course, in some areas. But right now, as you can see, there's that, truck lorry there with some police officers inside, but also we can see traffic flowing and people just, moving about, and going about their day for that matter. Like my colleague Ian mentioned earlier, I beg your pardon, Alan, for that matter, that, we would be seeing, some protests happening, as the day progresses, or rather people coming out, heavily, during the day from 10:30 or so, or morning hours for that matter. But right now you can see the police there talking to some civilians or just being, guiding them or talking to them for that matter. Nothing much happening, just business as usual in Mombasa there, traffic flowing. But of course, any other aspects, of course, as we move on during the day, we'll be able to highlight that for you. But it looks like a peaceful scenario right now as we're speaking. Ian, you can continue.
So, like I was saying, I think that we don't have necessarily a good opposition as it stands. We know very well that Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has put a party, and they're trying to consolidate a few other leaders from different regions, and they're calling them the official opposition. But as it is, I think in Kenya, the people who are considerable the opposition itself are the youthful people who are trying to, make their voices heard as far as the current situation as it is. And these people can only be found through social media in that sense. And I'll give you a good example.
Yeah. Ian, just as you're coming in, before you digress from that point, because a lot of blame lies on Raila Odinga and ODM party for putting us where we are today, at least according to the Gen Z movement. But I'm trying to get the other scenario, the flip side of this. And I always love posing this question just to get a different sort of side of this whole equation. And probably I'll pose it to you and Sheila as well. So let's get the flip side of this situation. So Raila Odinga stays on with the Azimio demonstrations, right, from 2023, continues with the same. The Gen Zs come out, tell him, we need you to step aside. He doesn't step aside. So you continue and you join in. Let's say you topple the government and Ruto has gone as you wanted him to go. There's this wild imagination that things go on as normal, but that is not the case. According to the constitution, who takes over? It's the military that literally now takes over. So I'm trying to ask Kenyans, if this didn't happen, if this sort of peace wasn't put in place then, what would have Kenyans been looking at in terms of a military leadership? Are we trying to say that's what we want?
So, and that's a very good question, and I'll keep on insisting. Let's look at the case of Bangladesh on what literally happened. Bangladesh had digital activism. Same thing as Kenya. We started with the Reject Finance Bill 2024. That went to the way it did. In Bangladesh, it was an issue of safe server, and also they had a similar computer misuse bill that was proposing certain actions which are not very favorable. What happened was that the protests continued all the way to 2024. The mass protesters went and invaded the so-called their own status in that perspective. As it is right now, they have a caretaker government, which is basically a bit of some military-led, and now they already have a constitutional panel that is working on constitutional reforms, and now they're looking at elections happening in 2026 April. Now, that's the current state of Bangladesh. In Kenya, as it is, we have the privilege of having government work in a stronger sense, in my opinion. We have independent commissions, and we have quite a bit of a strong military reform, so things I don't think they will go to that particular extent. Secondly, I think our society is not only well informed. The aspect of marching to State House, I don't necessarily agree to the point of invading or jumping to the gate in State House, but I do believe in the aspect of getting to march there and submitting a petition, or rather marching to the office of the president, submitting a petition. I believe that's something that will go. The extent of going to unearth the current president is going to create some form of anarchy. I also believe in the existence of, let's say, Protected Areas Act. I know the extent the police can go as far as preventing people from entering into protected areas. All right? I do understand that. That particular thought of something to lead to anarchy is not possible in Kenya.
We want to just,
in my view,
take a short break right here on Amka Kenya. The hashtag is Amka Kenya. When we get back, we continue with this special and live coverage. Just stay around.